Hello, it's nice to come your way again. This is Edemedem of Green Code Mentoring Hub. I'm also the National Coordinator for Green Consent for Development. It's a pleasure to have you in our class today. In today's class, we are going to look at narrative report writing skills. We are going to look at the first part, which is the introduction, and we are going to run a series, okay, until we have impacted on your report writing skills. Okay, how about that? I hope you're not chicken out at the end or midway. Okay, so follow us as we go on this journey. Okay, the whole essence is to ensure that we contribute to your capacity building skills in terms of narrative report writing. Okay, so we're organizing this class for Green Code staff as well as our mentees in the mentoring hub, and whoever will find these articles online. Okay, this article is going to go online on Green Code Mentoring Hub YouTube channel. Okay, so if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on the notification button so that you get notified each time we upload new presentation. Okay, tell others to tell others to tell others to join our Green Code Mentoring Hub YouTube channel. We announce opportunities, be it travels opportunity scholarships, as well as training opportunities as well. Okay, so do not miss this opportunity and don't enjoy this opportunity alone. Okay, so let's go on to this class. The reason why we are doing this class is basically we have noticed the weakness and the gap both in our staff in Green Code and also other staffs in other organizations in terms of their writing skills. Okay, so that is why we're putting up together this. Okay, we have just two objectives for this class. The first objective is to improve some participants' understanding on good and quality narrative reporting. The second is to equip participants with skills and better knowledge of writing good reports. Okay, now let's take a look at what we call 5WH. 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 Anytime you want to write a report, even when after writing a report, you need to review your report to see if it is in line with the 5WH. I'm going to tell you what is 5WH. The first W stands for what? The second W stands for who. The next W stands for when. And the next W after when is why. And then the last W is where. And then the H I mentioned before stands for how. Now, what means what are you reporting on? The who means who are you reporting on and who was also involved in the activity that you are reporting. When means the time. Could it be in an hour? Could it be the day? Could it be the week? Could it also be the month or the year this thing happened that you are reporting? Then why means why did this thing happen? This thing that you are reporting, why did it happen? Where means where did it happen? The place and location. And then the last one, which is the H, which stands for how, means how did it happen? So when you are writing your report, it is advisable that you put the 5WH into context. When you are also reviewing a report, assuming you are a line manager, a supervisor, you are trying to review a report, you need also to put this into the context, okay? The context of 5WH, okay? Let's go. Now, let me also take you through the concepts. We have two concepts in today's class that we're going to look at. The first concept is reports. The second concept is report writing. So what is report? Reports are documents that are used for getting and receiving factual information. They are presented formally in writing. The main purpose of a report is to provide information needed for decisions to be made and actions to be taken. We don't just write reports. We write reports to inform or to enable the reader or the decision taker to take an informed decision. If it is for an action, so that whoever is reading the report should be able to take an action. For instance, if you are implementing an activity and there were some challenges, you capture this right in your report. Your line manager or your supervisor will use your report and the recommendation therein to take action, okay, to improve your field activity or your next programming. Now, what is report writing? Report writing is the actual process of collecting and collating and documenting this information in a factual and objective manner. Your information must be factual and must be objective. So that is what we are talking about. So by the time you collate all your information without missing any piece, bearing in mind the 5WH, and then you make them factual and objectives. Your report must not be one-sided. That is what we mean by objectives. Your report must not be full of fictions, things that are not real, okay? Now let's look at types of reports. When we talk about reports, we are basically looking at two types of reports. We have the narrative reporting and the financial reporting. In the narrative reporting, I'm going to take you through several kinds of reporting under the narrative reporting, while the financial report only talks about the Naira and the Kobo. Now, in the narrative report, we have what we call information-only reports. That is to say, it's a summary. For instance, if we have this meeting that we are currently having now, this class, and I pick one of you to do me a report, that report will not be detailed. It could only just be a summary of what happened, the number of persons that attended, and the time the class took place, and what have you. So that is an information report. That is just to provide information, and it is always very short. Okay, it gives room for just the basic information that you want the reader to know. Okay, for instance, maybe like a minute of a meeting. Okay, so that is what it means. The second type of narrative report is a research report. A research report could be a scientific report or environmental research or a medical research and all those kind of other researches that you may know. So it is also wide in context because it talks about the scope, the methodology, and perhaps past literature reviews. Now, another aspect of narrative report is what we call case studies analysis report. Perhaps you are trying to compare something that happened in, for instance, we have the prevalence of substance abuse in northern part of Nigeria. So you might decide to pick Borno State, Yobe State, Jigawa, or any state in the northern part of Nigeria to do your case study. And most time in case studies, you try to compare the statistics you have gotten from a particular location with another, or otherwise just focus on that particular case, which might be the state in question. So now, what skills you want to write a good report? What skills do you need to be a good reporter? One of the skills is human relations skills. You need, because some of your information, for instance, if you are a program staff in an NGO, you'll be going to the field to implement your activity, and there is high tendency of interacting with human beings in the field. So you need to understand that you need to have good human relations. So that skills will need to play out for you to get and obtain good information that will be needed in your report. The next thing is listening skills. Most of us don't have these skills. We can hear very well for 2 good hours, but we cannot comprehend or give feedback of exactly what we heard. In that case, you are just hearing and not listening. So you hear and the thing passes from this ear and goes out on the other ear. That is hearing. But in listening, you are able to assimilate whatever you heard and draw conclusions on them and have a feedback or have a take home from what you have heard. Then another thing is listening skills. You need to have a good interviewing skills for you to be able to get a good reporting out there. If you are going out to do a research and you cannot probe after asking one question to probe further to get a clearer picture of what you are researching, I bet you your report, your research report will be half-baked report, okay? Will not be a good report. The other thing will be that you can have all the first three skills I have mentioned, but yet you don't have good note-taking skills. A lot of us don't know how to take notes, okay? So you'll be listening and sometimes you are carried away by what you are listening to, but without putting it down. But we have this conviction that whatever you hear will retain in your brain. Our human brains are not like computers, okay? Even with computers, after a while, a virus can attack and the whole information stored there will go off, okay? So you need to learn, for you to be a good reporter, you need to learn how to take good notes, okay? You don't just take notes of everything that is said, but you try to get the action points and the key points into your note. So that you can now use it to develop your note. Then factual report writing skills. Some of us don't know how to substantiate the fact from whatever we are listening or whatever we do. So you need to get your fact. Sometimes this fact comes with like what somebody actually reported, quoted speech or reported speech, or sometimes figures. Now let's look at how to write a good report. Before you are able to write a good report, you need to ask yourself, why do I need to write this report? What needs to go into this report? The extent of the report should be clear. To the extent at which you are taking your report must be clear. Am I just writing this report for myself? Am I writing for my organization? Will people out there, like my donor, the government, policy makers, decision makers, will they have to see this report? If your donor will have to see this report, the government will have to see this report, that will determine the extent in which you have to be very, very clear. For instance, if you are a medical student and you are writing a report for a community leader, and then you are using all the medical terms and jargons, you also will know that the community leader will read your report as he's just reading a novel, but will never understand whatever you are saying there. Then what are the features that we need to see in a good reporting? If you want to write a good report, these are the features, these are things that we need to see in your report. A good report has clarity of thoughts. We want to see how clear your thoughts, because it is the flow of your thought that determines how the extent you are going to write. So you need to understand how clear your report should be. I mentioned jargon a few minutes ago and some terminology. You are in the legal field, you are environmentalist or a medical person, you need to understand that whatever report you are writing that is going to be put out there will be read by anybody that comes across that report. So you must be clear in your use, in your choice of words, in your thoughts. A good report must be complete and self-explanatory. Sometimes we write report and we just write some paragraph and hang it somewhere. So you don't need to do that. You need to complete your report, read through and ensure that it flows. And it must be self-explanatory. Self-explanatory in the sense that you must have the reader in mind while writing your report. Somebody should not pick up your report and be reading and be looking for dictionary to either find the meaning of the word or also try to imagine what is he or she referring to in this report. That is not a very good reporting, okay? The second part in this whole thing is that your report must be comprehensive and compact. A good report has a proper date and signature. When you finish writing your report, your name, signature, position must be at the bottom of your report. Okay, so don't miss Don't miss all these things. These are key features that needs to be seen in your report. Now, what are the report structures? We have the title page. In my own recommendation, I always say that you have a title page in your report, which will also have one nice action picture at the center of that title page. Sometimes we call them title page or cover page. So it must be there. And then you have the logo of the organization or the logo of the partner if they permit that. Then you also have the title clearly written, and then the date in which that report was written. So that is the cover page. Then we talk about abstract or executive summary. That comes immediately after your cover page or your title page. But get me right, sometimes you might want to include table of contents. So your table of content must come immediately after your title page or cover page. Then if you want to, if it is like a research or end of project report where you have to acknowledge people, then it will be cover page or title page, table of contents, then the acknowledgement. After that acknowledgement, you now have your abstract or what we call executive summary. Executive summaries. So then you go into the body of your report, which is made up of the introduction, the results, if it was a research findings, or the activity. If you are writing activity, then you can now say maybe day 1 activity, day 2 activity, or activity 1, activity 2, or activity 3. So you do them in that order, and then thereafter you now have what we call lesson learned, recommendation or challenges, then conclusion and recommendation. Okay. Now let me stick to come back to the title page. In writing your report title should be concise in such a way that if a reader picks up your report, the title of your report should be able to tell the person what is the content of the report without the reader going through your report. Your report title might motivate the person to read further or to stop reading your report. So this is very, very important and key in writing your report. Abstract. I just want to challenge you today. If you have never mastered how to write abstract or executive summary, please try and do that today. Try and do that today. Let me tell you, if you can write your abstracts very well, your executive summary very well, for those of you that want to travel abroad, it is a very good avenue for you to travel abroad. Check this out. Take this as a task after this video. Go back, check on Google and see how you can Google calls for papers or calls for abstract. Take the notes down. Go to those various websites. Visit them. Abstracts are always an abstract or executive summary of paper presentation, either from a research or for field work experiences that are needed in some certain conferences around the world. Before and after COVID, there have been conferences around the world that calls for papers and calls for abstract has always been on. And if you have not done this, then you need to start doing. This is an opportunity that you can use to travel abroad. For those of you that want to travel abroad, if you give a very good and attractive abstract, okay, based on your experiences or research around, if your abstract is accepted, you can be called upon to come and present the paper in an international conference. And sometimes it is fully funded. Your flight, your accommodation, and stipend could be taken care of. Or sometimes they could accept your paper for the conference and then they pay you for that paper. You never can tell. So if you have not mastered how to develop abstract and executive summary, please, this is an opportunity for you to do so. Sometimes you can even develop it and then you sit at the comfort of your room with the availability of network and you join the conference online and present it and then you are paid. The other way around, if you know how to present or prepare or draft an abstract and executive summary, then in that case, some of these abstracts will go into international journals. And when people pick up those international journals and read, you never can tell who and who can contact you. And once your article, abstract, or paper is published on international journals, you can as well put it in your CV. It raises your profile internationally for you to have a paper that has been accepted at the international level to be published on international journals. Okay, so improve on this. So go, today's task on this class is for you to go. First task is for you to try to summarize, come up with an abstract from today's class. 200 to 300 word max should be your limit for abstract and executive summaries. The next thing for you to do is for you to see ways of Googling. Go on Google and Google calls for papers. When you see them, write them down. Look at the topics they are calling for abstracts, and then see what you can do. That way you'll be improving on your writing skills. Some of the abstracts, when they get them, they will help you edit it using track change. And when they use track change, then you can now work on it. That way you keep on improving on your executive summary. Now I have example of executive summary here. So this is just like a guide. This abstract or executive summary, as the case may be, you might start it with an objective, not clearly writing objective, but bearing in mind that whatever you are writing as your opening paragraph is the objective. Later on, after your objectives, then you go into the method, the results, and then the conclusion. All these 4 elements should feature in your executive summary, or what we call abstract. So don't miss this. What do I say? I say that in writing your abstract or executive summary, these 4 things should be able to guide you. 1, the objective of whatever report you are writing, the method that you use, the results, and the conclusion. So this is a typical features of executive report or abstract that has to do with research. But if you are in the program or field activity reporting, your executive summary should have an overview of that activity that you did, a summary, 2-sentence, 3-sentence mark of the activities that took place, perhaps the location, the people that attended, and then you conclude. Your conclusion should now be like from the lesson learned from that whole process. So all this should form your abstract or executive summary when writing your next report. So like I said, the task that we have given has to do with this. So use this as a guide in doing your task that we have just given to you. Okay. Now when we talk about the body of a narrative report, it must have the introduction. I have talked about this. The introduction, so introducing people to whatever activity that you did. Then you now go into details. If it was a 3-day training, you start by saying day 1. You capture all that was written in day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. If it is activity, you can now say activity 1. You give a summary of the activity 1. Go to activity 2, like so on and so on. At the end, you now have your lesson learned, challenges, conclusion. So these are the things that you need to know in your report writing. So one thing I also want to bring to your notice is that you might want to make your report look a little bit more attractive and self-explanatory. And what you need to do, you need to insert tables. Your tables, for instance, this class that we're holding now, we might talk about people that attended virtually and people that are attending physically. Okay, so you can insert a table in your report to represent this participant, virtual participant, physical participant. Then you go further to also plot another table to talk about their sex, male, female. There are so many things you can play about with all this when you're writing. You can go further to talk about the number of persons that were GREENCODE staff and the number of people that were not GREENCODE staff that participated. You can as well go ahead to plot a table to talk about their age bracket, their age range of the participant. Okay, so there are different ways you can use it. That is in a table form. And also know that while doing your table, you need to label your table. You can say table 1, virtual participant. Table 2, physical participant. Table 3, male and female representation or male and female participation. So you come up with some innovative titles, catching titles for your table. This same data that you are using to plot your table can then be transformed into graphics in terms of bar chart, pie chart, and all other graphs. Okay. In our next lessons, we'll take you through hands-on practical on how to use data in plotting graphs and tables. Okay. And then don't forget, you can as well add pictures to your reports, okay? But your pictures must be of high resolution and they must just be action pictures to make your report attractive, and pictures should convey the story of that report, okay? And remember, your pictures must be captioned below very clearly, okay? And don't forget to credit the person that took the photo, okay? There are a lot of copyrights out there, okay? So ensure that you credit the person that took the photo, okay? That's it. Then moving forward, when you plot your table, ensure that you have what we call discussions of finding. Your discussion of finding about a particular table above must always be below, so that the reader can always roll his eyeballs up and down, comparing the summary you have given below to the figures or the data that you have given above. Okay, so these are very, very important. In writing challenges, you must be able to come up, think through the challenges that you encountered while trying to implement a particular activity that you are writing the report on. Okay, so if for instance it is insecurity, you should be able to discuss how insecurity affected the smooth implementation and how you mitigated against such challenges. Then the lesson learned. The lesson learned should always be things that you think made the activity to go on smoothly, which you have learned something from it, or which you would have done it differently if you are given another opportunity. So these are lessons learned. Then conclusion. Conclusion should be a summary of all the findings of that particular activities, or a summary of all went on in that particular activity that you are reporting on. Thereafter, we have what we call recommendation. So if it is on a research activity you are reporting on, recommendation is very, very important, so that you recommend and then others can pick up that and then use it for future references and future programming. The next thing we need to know is that after that you need to have annexes. Annexes is very important. If, for instance, we are doing this training, your annexes, number one, annexes will be the PowerPoint that we use, and then the attendance sheet for those that attended both virtually and online. So this is what we need to do, and then reference, okay? Although your references should come before the annexes, okay? So check this, and these are the intro to our class on report writing. Our next class will be on using the tasks that you are going to submit to now begin to build in on a proper report. In GREENCODE, we have a template that we use in reporting. So we are going to take people through that reporting template from start to the end. So remember, we are running a series. So we are starting today. Tomorrow, the next day, we are going to apply hands-on practicals based on the tasks that you are going to deliver today, so that we can now perfect on our improve on our reporting skills. So thank you very much. If you have any comments, please write it on the comment section. We'll visit it and try to answer your questions. If you write it on your comment section, please drop your phone number so that we can try to get in touch with you, so that we can respond to your questions and ensure that you get it right next time. Thank you for joining. This is GreenCode Mentoring Hub Opportunity Gist, where we provide classes free of charge for others. So if you are interested, join, subscribe to our YouTube channels, and turn on the notification button so that you can get notified each time we upload new videos. Thank you and God bless.